By mid-2026, the familiar concept of typing a prompt into a chatbot and waiting for a response is largely obsolete. The operational standard has transitioned to highly autonomous agentic baselines powered by large action models, or LAMs. LAMs navigate fragmented corporate databases and siloed clinical networks to execute multi-step administrative workflows without constant human intervention. This infrastructure now orchestrates background operations in healthcare, education, and municipal utilities for 3.5 billion people daily. But this utility generates friction. Competing monetization models are currently fracturing the enterprise software ecosystem. Simultaneously, the physical energy required to scale these systems is straining global power grids. Analyzing the current AI landscape requires deconstructing it across 4 distinct layers. The algorithmic logic dictates the local hardware deployment. That deployment forces unprecedented energy consumption, which in turn triggers intense societal and regulatory pushback. Evaluating AI in 2026 requires looking past software features to measure the underlying macro-systemic infrastructure. Layer 1 is the algorithmic engine, moving away from generalized reasoning. The focus is now on multi-step action models, trained on specialized multi-omics databases. Historical pharmaceutical development traditionally cost $2 billion per approved drug and suffered a 90% attrition rate. AI-native platforms now utilize protein language models to predict three-dimensional structures, designing molecules for specific biological targets computationally to bypass years of physical testing. Biopharma companies are also deploying synthetic digital twins. By combining historical patient data and real-world evidence, they can simulate placebo outcomes without recruiting physical human control arms. In emergency room settings, advanced reasoning models like OpenAI's O1 Preview achieve an accurate diagnosis rate of 67.1%, compared to the 50 to 55% accuracy rates logged by human physicians. This environment mapping capability is being applied outside of medicine, specifically in pedagogical engineering. Intelligent tutoring systems process millions of student behaviors to break academic curricula down into thousands of nano-level learning objectives. By identifying precise gaps in foundational knowledge, these platforms have improved the diagnostic accuracy of adaptive testing from 78% to 93%. Layer 1 functions by precisely mapping and executing highly complex, multivariable environments. Layer 2 deconstructs how those algorithms are actively deployed and monetized within the workforce. This matrix illustrates the structural division between the 2 dominant software ecosystems, Google Workspace and Microsoft 365. Google bundles Gemini natively across all business tiers, ensuring widespread access, but requiring a 40% price increase for lower-tier subscriptions. Microsoft keeps Copilot as an optional $21 premium add-on. This limits overhead for base tiers, but creates a fragmented workforce where many users lack native AI access. Google uses fully pooled storage across the corporate domain, while Microsoft relies on 1 terabyte individual limits. Consequently, Google's native bundling drives an 82% AI adoption rate, compared to Microsoft's 66%. Organizations migrating to Google encounter the Excel constraint. Finance teams still require local, desktop versions of Microsoft Excel to run advanced financial scripts. To bypass cloud-based silos and reduce latency, the physical workspace is moving toward ambient edge computing. Hardware like the Project Qubit personal AI held utilizes local neural processing units to ingest multi-device telemetry from employee wearables, executing tasks without sending sensitive data to public clouds. Enterprise AI outcomes are dictated as much by these software licensing structures and local hardware capabilities as they are by algorithmic intelligence. Layer 3 examines the physical energy and resources required to sustain these layers. AI provides micro-efficiencies to municipal infrastructure, utilizing satellite computer vision to predict equipment failure and manage vegetation near high-voltage lines. By analyzing smart meter telemetry, AI diagnostics reduce the duration of local power outages by up to 50%. This Sankey diagram balances those grid savings against operational costs. The micro-efficiencies gained at the local level are eclipsed by the massive power required to train frontier models. Global data center energy consumption is projected to reach 1,050 terawatt-hours by late 2026, ranking the sector as the 5th largest energy consumer on Earth. Training a single frontier cluster requires 5 gigawatts of continuous power. Former Google CEO Eric Schmidt testified that the United States data center sector alone will need 29 gigawatts of additional power by 2027. Cooling these hyperscale centers is expected to consume between 16 billion and 33 billion gallons of water annually, creating resource strains in arid municipalities. Global thermodynamics and water scarcity have become the functional constraints on further intelligent scaling. Layer 4 addresses societal sentiment. Public trust and regulatory frameworks dictate whether the necessary infrastructure for these systems is permitted. Public anxiety regarding AI is rising globally. In emerging markets like India, nervousness regarding integration surged 14 percentage points in a single year. This barbell chart illustrates a 50-point perspective gap. 73% of industry experts anticipate AI will positively enhance human work, while only 23% of the general public agrees. This anxiety limits regulatory capital. Populations expecting displacement distrust national bodies to draft oversight frameworks. This trust deficit is acute in the United States, where only 31% of respondents believe the federal government will regulate AI responsibly. This mistrust is anchored in a rise in documented safety incidents and severe privacy vulnerabilities. Federal agencies and civil litigators have successfully demanded the disclosure of private chatbot logs. Highly sensitive personal history shared with wellness bots is now being exposed in state proceedings. These 4 layers function as a single system. Algorithmic capability meets the friction of enterprise licensing. Deployment is limited by the physical grid, and the resulting infrastructure drain feeds the societal mistrust and privacy vulnerabilities seen today. Artificial intelligence is now a core driver of global infrastructure. Its future rests with those who solve the resource and societal trust bottlenecks of 2026.